So before we start, what the hell is that? 6 wins in one full season? 6 fast laps? 7 wins?
7 wins, yeah.
That back 2006?
I have to keep it there so I remember myself.
Okay, good.
Yeah, those were the days.
How old are you, man?
Now?
Yeah.
It's a good question,
No,
too.
this is you're like Cher, you don't say?
50, no, I just can't remember. 53?
53,
53, yeah.
So
yeah.
2006, almost like 18 years ago.
Yeah.
And that was what kind of class was that?
Formula 2000.
Formula 2000.
So, yeah, in America, Formula 2000 was a big class before Formula Atlantic, usually.
Okay.
And Atlantic is not around much anymore either, sadly. Now you have...
What kind of engine those cars were using?
2-liter.
Ford, right?
That's a Ford Z-Tech motor. Yeah, twin cam. About
the Ford Focus.
Yeah, exactly. It came right out of it. About 160 horsepower.
160. Okay, so super lightweight cars.
Cars weigh 1,100, 1,200 pounds. So
you invest some time to get to that point. You invest some time in your racing career, right?
Yeah.
You want to talk more about that?
That's where it stopped.
Where does it stop?
It's a 2-liter, which is another story. But
how can you stop in such a great season like that? 7 wins. How many races you had?
I think there were
11.
Yeah, I think there were 10 or 11 races that year.
Come on, man! What happened? Sponsorships.
Right place, right time.
Okay.
Then the following year, I stuck around, and I led the championship most of the season. I had some penalties. I was actually the Elan factory driver in 2007. So Elan had bought Van Diemen, who made the chassis in England for a long time. And so for the year, I was the Elan driver in F2K. And I think in the end, I lost championship by 3 points.
Were the penalties track penalties or behavior penalties? Mix of it.
I was a track. The big one was a track penalty.
Okay.
I can't remember the kid who was behind me, but his team claimed I jumped a start and a restart, and because I was in the lead, I felt I had control of the start.
Restart,
I took off, and
the guy stayed.
The guy didn't know, and
was not paying attention.
Oddly enough, I didn't win the race. I think I came in 3rd or 4th. But the penalty bumped me back to like 7th, and
that defined the championship.
Yeah, pretty much, because in that car we were running all free stuff. People that would give us things. So we had like IndyCar shocks in the car, which were like space age at that point. But we found that we didn't figure it out till 3/4 through the season. Once I started to lose races, that they were overheating. In the rear, they overheat because in an Indy car at that time, it was all carbon, and none of the heat soaked in like a car like that has an aluminum bell housing. So the shocks would turn to mush after about 6-7 laps and get funky, and then
the car was
I ran out of talent a couple of times, things like that. So. But the funny part is the chief steward from that race, I saw him a few years ago in a bar at Watkins Glen, and he looked at me and he said, "I never should have penalized you."
Sure. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, but it's fine. It's fine.
Have fun?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? And I can see in your shop that it's you who use your skills for it.
Yeah, I mean, I like to tinker. It's always been like that. Ever since I was little. That's kind of what hooks us into this stuff, I think.
Yeah.
If you like to tinker. So.
But I feel like it's the first time that I'm seeing you.
Right.
We've been talking with Zillion for almost 3 years.
Yeah, welcome, by the way. I'm glad you finally tracked me down.
Yeah, there you go. Because you told me that you were going to visit for like 5 times.
Couple of times. Follow my hockey team out there. Yeah, right. I know.
Yeah, you never show up. So I'm here.
I'm
tracking down a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
A rainy Saturday morning.
You know how difficult it is to actually get an answer from me.
Yeah, actually, I want to comment on that.
A few people in the world that are in the same boat, so I'm sorry.
I know that Steve lives close by, so he can knock at your door when
He
needs projects.
comes and
I'm gonna
wakes
start to
me
buy
up.
my stuff from Steve. Steve,
Yeah.
you're the new business
Then
manager.
he puts me to work.
I've called you 3 times.
You're
Where are
his
you?
new business
And-
manager,
Yeah,
so
right,
go from you.
right. No, he sings me a song about being missing, or I forget what it is. But
Yeah, I think I have like 3 or 4 open invoices that I need to pay you. That I
might
never
be
sent.
1 or 2. I'm
come
not
on,
sure if
I
it's
don't know.
that many.
And
I'll
you
have
have
to
a bunch
check.
of cars of mine here too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
yeah, they're in the drawer.
So, I'm glad that you know where they are.
I just have to merge. I have to find
But
time to merge
that's the
them.
thing about you. Like when I have friends. I don't want to summarize, but I have friends like you that.
What do you mean, like
you're
me?
sitting there watching me talk to Steve, and you're just like looking for something to do. Like you couldn't stop.
Sometimes I get like that. Yeah. Well, one part was the air compressor. I didn't want that to turn on or
turn
go
on.
off while you were doing your
That's
interview.
fine.
But
That's fine.
yeah, I always
looking ahead.
things pop in my head. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'll be like, oh.
You have a very nice neighborhood here. For how long have you been living here?
Thank
Are you
you.
originally from here?
So no, I'm from a couple towns over,
Okay.
and that sort of trails into how I got back into slot cars. So
Good. You see, my transition was smooth.
I
Give
was.
it-
Oh yeah, there you go. You're
Give
a
it away.
master at
Give it
this.
away.
So we bought the house, I don't know, 25, 26 years ago, something like that. And we didn't have anything. Didn't have a fridge, didn't have an oven, didn't have anything. So we would go downtown, it's a small town. So it's a pizza shop, a post office, and there's a guy with a shack that
butcher.
cuts your hair. Yeah.
Oh,
And we left the pizza shop.
I didn't mean call the guy who cuts your hair a butcher.
Uh,
I don't want to make this.
he's still
assumption.
down there.
Yeah, so
You
it's
could
very
use
good.
something.
you
Anyway,
can do something. Yeah. Help you out.
So at the time, I was working at General Electric. I was a CAD mentor, right? So all computer-aided stuff. And if somebody had a question on how to create something, I would come to their rescue. 9 times out of 10, I said, I don't know, let me go check and I'll come back.
Yeah.
But leaving the pizza shop downtown, there was a baseball card shop, and in the window they had 3 or 4 slot cars.
Really? Here.
Yeah.
Here. 5 minutes away.
Pretty strange. So the most famous thing West Newbury is known for is the home of John Cena. And John Cena, as a kid, would go into the baseball card shop, and
John Cena, the actor.
the wrestler actor.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
okay.
like the big guy
He's a
around
nice
town.
guy. Everybody likes him.
Yeah, I've only met him once,
Yeah.
and it was like at a car show local. So anyway, on top of the slot car was a logo for the CAD company that I was working for. And I was like, oh, that's cool, slot cars. I haven't done that in forever. Walked in, I had to buy the car just because. And that, of course, snowballed into, going there every Saturday morning for racing and stuff
But they have
like that.
They have a track over there.
They had a very small. It would fit on this table.
Okay.
It was real tiny, but there was a group of guys that loved getting together and doing it. And the guy's name was George Delansky that owned it, and it was called Bases Loaded. And after 7 or 8 years, he passed away. So the group was like, what the hell are we gonna do now? And me and another guy were like, well, we could chip in, keep it going, and. That's when Changing Gears was born, really, which is the sign up above there.
I saw some pictures online, and I saw that sign outside.
Yeah,
So that was the
yeah,
store,
that
right?
was the shop.
Yeah.
And
Put it this way, right? The shop is here, and this way.
Yeah. So we didn't get along, classic business story, right? Partner story. So I bought the other guy out, and it's sort of like this. It was like I'd run the shop when I would have time, kind of thing, because I was doing a little bit of racing, a lot of driver coaching during those years, stuff like that. So
What year was that? 2000?
yeah, around
Say 25 years ago, so 99, 2000?
let me back up, 2009.
Okay, so
2009.
we were living here for a while, right?
Yeah, 2010,
Got a
something like
fridge.
that, and then he passed. Yeah,
Got a
whole
fridge
thing.
and stuff.
You can replay the video after.
No,
Get the
yeah, no,
timeline.
because you told me that you moved here without a fridge, so I'm worried
Right.
because if you start to invest money in slot cars before getting a fridge.
We used to
Priorities,
have,
please.
We did Hot Wheels for Christmas ornaments on the
Okay.
tree that year when we bought it. Yeah, so But then we, somehow I found some money to go racing shortly after that, and then the rest is history with that. But I was in the shop one day, 2014, so 10 years ago, and I'd come from work, and I had read an article about 3D printing, which in the work environment we had already kind of done some 3D printing, but it was pretty rough.
15 years ago.
Very rough. It was like a sheet of paper, two rolls, a take-up roll and a roll of paper, and then a laser would cut it, and then the roll would go again. I actually have a brake caliper up there, but really rough. And you end up with a block of wood because you're cutting paper. There weren't the materials around that there are today. So I had read, about 3D printing and different things, and I happened to have a fly car in my hand that I was running around the track a few minutes later, and the idea came to me, wow, I could put one of these new slotted pod things into a fly car. Started working on that, and the first guy to try it that came in, one of the regulars, he was like, you got to sell this thing. And that was like in the summer. So by August, September 2014, I was the first one to start selling 3D chassis on Shapeways. Now Maurizio was real close, so I don't. We have to check the timeline. At some point,
he was selling 3D chassis.
It was pretty much neck and neck at that point.
But then I remember when I started to do business with you, we were selling those beautiful cars.
Yep.
Chaparrals, the Maseratis,
right.
the birdcage.
Right.
For legal reasons.
So the first, the first one was the sucker car. The
with actually motor on it.
Yeah.
That became super rare. You know that? The second car is the 2G?
That was a 2J.
2J, the 2J car.
2J.
It has like some vacuums in the box, so suck the cars off, like some wings on the side as a skirt, so the car will get sucked onto the track.
Like for real?
Yeah. Ski mobile motor.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he built one
thing
with small motors, probably HO or even smaller than that.
They were tiny. Yeah.
That actually have the fans in the back of the car working. This slot car working, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I had done a couple of 3D things at that point, a few chassis for sale, and a guy in Canada, I think his name was Ron B, said to me, you should do a car. And I thought, okay, I'll give it a stab. And what's the easiest cars?
Okay, but there's a gap that I cannot understand, because coming from CAD and developing stuff as a computer and putting together and printing is one thing, but delivering those beautiful cars with beautiful finishing, where'd you got the skills to do that?
Practice,
right?
Yeah, a lot of practice.
Yeah, the birdcage is amazing. The interior of the birdcage.
Well, by the birdcage, I learned a lot of lessons. So
okay.
And everybody calls it 2K, but I just call it automotive clear. It's like a hot rod clear coat, and that's like what everybody goes ooh and ah over. Once I learned to sort of use that stuff, I'm a big Zero Paints fan. I started off with rattle cans. Like all the 2Js were done with rattle cans, Tamiya paint. A lot of it's just white primer, with some sort of spray.
To get the whites a little bit easier.
Yeah, the aluminum's always been. I tried a million things for aluminum and chrome and everything else, but it got there eventually. I mean, I look at that car now and it seems really crude to me.
Okay, well.
Yeah, I could have done. Well, I didn't know, but when I did the second one, which was the last version, the Riverside version, that had Vic Elford driving. That one, you can see a little more of the rivets.
Okay, a little bit more details.
Right, little things like that.
And after the 2J, you did the Shadow, right?
Yeah, the low-line car. Yeah, which I didn't know had air brakes. I would have tried to do some air brakes, like little panels that just kind of pop up. I would have done that had I known.
I saw a video of that car going on good.
That was the first time I was like, what are those?
First time for me too.
Right.
Like, it's incredible because the whole car changed when the brakes was like...
Yeah. So, but that was a fun car. But you learned, I learned a lot about graphics design, like what the box should look like. And that all came from, when I would buy a slotted car, I really liked the box. So I used their box. I would make my own wrappers, things like that. And I got a lot of help from Maurizio early on. Thank you. I know I still owe you a car. Someday I'll get that finished.
Okay.
He gave me some advice in the beginning and let me use the motor pods, and I said slot it inside kind of thing for that car. And I got to talk to Jim Hall, which was
very nice.
Which was like amazing. I told him I had this thing and, I was going to do, and I was going to send him an example. And I saw a photo recently of his office in Texas, and the car is sitting on a desk.
The car was there.
And it's still got
full circle.
I put a 9-volt on the bottom so you could push a button and make everything spin. Fans go and stuff, and pull the back off so you could see the fans.
So you went there?
I never went there. I talked to him on the phone.
Have you ever seen the real car?
No.
Yeah.
No, just the videos.
Yeah, that's one thing on my bucket list.
And someday I'll get there. It's in like the middle of nowhere, Texas.
So right? I have a very good friend, Jim Wiseman, who raced with us. And we were talking about that museum. And it's really in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing you can do around it. You have to have one day just to go there and come back.
Yeah.
And I use the expressions in the middle of nowhere. And he said, yeah, my family's from there. Sure. I've been there several times.
Wonderful place.
It's a wonderful place. But my family's from there. Jesus.
It was really, the coolest thing about doing that car was talking to him because, having been in racing and everything else, the man's an absolute legend. So when I hung up the phone, I was like, holy, I called everybody I knew and I'd be like, you never believe who I just talked to.
Yeah, the guy's amazing. When we came back to Indy after several years out and put the yellow car up there.
Yeah, Pennzoil car, right.
Yellow Submarine. No, the yellow Submarine was Rick Mears, but the yellow one,
Yeah.
Who was driving that thing? Johnny...
Rutherford,
yeah. The big Texan helmet.
And there was a flip. I don't remember.
No, he won the race.
Did he?
Yeah, he won the race.
I remember something.
He won the race so far. If you see the starting of that race, on the second lap, he's already lapping people.
Yeah.
Just goes.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I know I had the HO car, I think. Little Tyco HO car, I think.
We have Osterrero from Italy makes
Right. They make...
we have a couple there. So
I'm always... they make very nice stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That's...
Danielle,
That's like where I hope to get to someday.
Really? Well, we're getting there because from both of you, it's very hard to get product. So we're in the same... You're in the same path.
It's a lot of time.
Yeah,
it's a lot of time for the cars. You want to make sure that they're nice and everything.
And right now, I feel like you're focusing not only on the tire tour, that Carlos can put some pictures for us while you speak, but also on the 3D printed chassis for the Trans Am class.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had some out last year. We have for the Camaro, for the Mustang Outscale Electrics line, and now we're working on the new Pioneer line, right?
Right. I think with Shapeways sort of going bankrupt and disappearing, it sort of opened the avenue to do more chassis too. I sort of went away from Shapeways after a while because it became very expensive. I'm conscious of how much the end product costs. Really, I don't understand how people pay $40 for a chassis off Shapeways, but I didn't look for much profit off of doing those chassis. So when the cost of Shapeways started to go up and up and up, and I'm making like, okay, if I keep it a reasonable price, maybe I make 10 cents on a chassis. I was like, there's got to be a better way. So I started to look around for my own machines, things like that, so I could make that stuff. And I envisioned, to do a 3D chassis is very expensive. You got to find a motor pod. You got to find all the bits and pieces.
You mean to install in a car?
Yeah, just to build one.
The transformation, the transition.
Right, exactly.
It's a modern term.
And I was conscious of that price too, because you don't want a scale electric car, $40. You end up spending $40 just on a 3D chassis.
Oh yeah, on the
chassis. Depending. So I tried to come up with something, that was a little more affordable that way. And it's worked out. So now with Shapeways going away, I think more chassis, things like that. I mean, people ask me to do like some weird Audi, the old Trans Am Audi, SCX Audi 90
but you
or
can't find the
something.
bodies
It's
anymore.
like,
You can't find the cars anymore.
I can't. I don't have one. I can't do that.
The amount of time and hours that you're going to
Exactly. Right. And I'm going to sell 3 of them maybe. So.
Yeah, but the Pioneer is a good idea because it's the same class. It's a slightly different. There's only a couple of transformations, right?
Right.
And they have solid modes. They do the Dodge, they do the Camaro, and they do the Mustang. That's it.
And I think that'll be a good car to compete with, like the Monogram Mustang type of thing.
Do you have a 3D chassis for the Monogram Mustang?
I do.
Okay, it's not out yet?
It's on. It might be on Shapeways. I don't know, but I have a nice one now. Yeah.
But the problem with the Monogram is that their body might be too heavy and too narrow.
I don't know. It's pretty much the same, I think, as the. It's definitely narrow. It's almost as narrow as a Pioneer type of thing.
The Pioneer is not the same width of the Scalextric ones?
No. No, it's narrower. So I started off doing the Pioneer car as a Sidewinder, but I think you get like a 5mm wide tire in the rear, so I'll probably go inline on that, so you get a nice fat tire.
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
But then you have the problem with the driver, right? And I noticed that you're trying to solve that right.
Right. A lot of plastic's been wasted on hacking up interiors, so now I'm finally getting around to doing some interiors where people can just take it out, put it to the side, not go at it with a Dremel, and just pop in one of mine.
Very, very cool. Yeah, it's a next level slot car racing when you need to do this kind of stuff.
Right.
And I hope you can continue doing the cars because the cars are beautiful.
Yeah, I think after I get this batch of tire machines done, things like that, I go back to focusing on building some cars. I mean, I have 10 bodies, like almost all set to go, like F1 bodies, GTP bodies.
You mean chassis?
Both. Yeah.
Oh, for the new cars?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for new cars, things with
GTP cars that Slot is not going to make
right,
because
like
it's just like 1 or 2 decorations.
Yeah, I've put pictures up, I think, on my Facebook page of the Toyota American Racer Toyota Eagle. Very famous car.
Had the Mercedes C11.
Yeah.
The one that Schumacher.
Don't get me thinking about things. That's what'll happen. I'll just go off on another direction. But the 1982 Formula One season.
Oh yeah.
Maurizio.
Why specific 1982?
The last age of ground effects and.
So who won 92? Keck Rosberg.
Yes, Rosberg was champion that year
without winning any race, right?
Only because Villeneuve ended up getting killed, but because that Ferrari was probably the best car that year. So.
Yeah.
And then Pironi had his issues at Hockenheim and things like that. So
the year before, Nelson Piquet won with the Brabham.
Yeah, with the BMW.
Who was in 98, 83? Reutemann? No.
You're testing me now. How you think I'm Vettel?
Yeah.
I can start calling that
Vettel's
stuff.
2005.
84 was Prost, maybe.
84 was Prost.
83, 84 was Prost, which I'm a Prost
83
fan,
was
by
Prost.
the way.
What the hell, man?
Oh, no.
Cut.
Yeah. Actually, I have a very funny story for you. 1988, 87, I was in Montreal for the Grand Prix.
Okay.
And
did it took like an hour to cross the border like Steve
No.
You didn't bring any toilet
Were you
seats.
bringing any toilet seats?
No toilet seats.
Okay.
Nothing to declare, really.
By the way, if you didn't hear the toilet seat, just go to the link below. There's Steve's interview there, and just if you don't want to watch anything, just go to the end. It's a marvel.
So that year, McLarens are dominant.
Yeah, MP44.
Right? And, So I go up Friday morning, Friday practice, things like that. I got my camera. I'm walking around, taking all the pictures. I'm down.
Super open. You can go to the paddock. You can enter the boxes. Nobody cares.
Now you get 3 gorillas to jump you, and So down where the start finish line is now, actually the pits had just moved down that end that year, or the year before. But I go up over a bridge and I'm walking to like turns 7 or 8, the first big chicane that you come to. I go over the bridge and I'm walking along and Senna's coming at me.
Okay.
And there's nobody else around. It's just he and I. And I'm like,
I know this guy.
is this real? He's got the suit on, you know.
The suit on the waist.
The car had crapped out, and he was trying to get back to pit lane.
Okay. I can follow you, Mr. Senna. Come on in. I can show you the way.
So he says to me, how do I get, you know, and he's pointing over there. And I'm like, you got to walk back the way you came and just go around, and then there's a path, and you'll see, you know,
Let me see your badge,
by,
sir. Let me see your badge, sir.
and I'll go over a bridge, and then, you know, you'll get there and stuff, right? He takes off, and I start walking again, you know, and I'm like, geez, did I get those pictures? You know, because I got a couple pictures of him standing there, which I can't find today.
Oh, God.
All of a sudden, you know, I'm just about to that chicane, and he comes along on the back of a motorbike, and he looks at me, he's just like,
Is it you're giving him wrong directions?
he didn't know I was a Prost fan.
No, you didn't do it on purpose. No. I don't believe that. It's a good ending, but I don't believe it. I don't buy it.
Best moment of my life right there. It was so funny. I was like, yeah. Take
And you're
that.
still a Prost fan now.
Take that. Of
Come
course
on.
I am.
Oh, good.
Well, I
good.
mean, you got to acknowledge Senna's accomplishments, but he wasn't better than Prost.
Really?
No, not
We
too
were about to walk away here, right? Sure. Now it's getting personal.
So,
It's getting personal.
All right.
Your table?
Yeah, that was a big fight. That was the goal for me because of, but 88 I was 16, 17, so that was kind of where we kind of, no, 88 I was 6,
Yeah.
7. So that was the time that I was kind of, my father knocked at my door because in Brazil the races are 5 a.m., 6 a.m.
Right.
It's about to start. Let's go. So what? Let's go. And he pushed me out of the bed so I can watch the start. And that was the year for us.
Yeah, my
and
parents
Carlos has about the same age, so that's the time that you will see it and watch. And you and the way that the Brazilian television was selling Senna and Piquet and Emerson before that was kind of this is patriotic. That's this guy out there representing the country.
Yeah.
And he came
It's
out of
different.
nowhere, and
Right.
he gets this car,
It's
and
very
he
different. Yeah.
he climbed up, and now he has the best car. Now he's fighting with this French guy,
Yeah.
and the French guy is the villain.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I had the chance to talk to Prost one time.
Did you?
Yeah, I was in 2019. I was working for a Brazilian newspaper to take pictures, and I was at Austin GP, and I saw this guy. He was coming out of the Renault pit from the back of the paddock.
Yeah.
And I think he was going to the restaurant or something. And they just say hi, Mr. Prost or something. You take a picture of him. I have the picture. And then I just walk around. I just want to say I'm a big fan. I'm from Brazil. I think it's. I say something like, I think everything is bullshit and we love you there, or something like that.
Yeah.
I said, I think that was it. It was not a conversation, but I could approach him.
Yeah.
And it was kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely.
He's literally this size.
Yeah. No, he's small.
Yeah.
He's a small guy. That's part of my problem. I wasn't.
Yeah.
My favoritism for him comes from just going to racing school in France. So that was a whole adventure.
Okay. You should have started to explain yourself before.
That's like part 2.
Before you get excited
Part
about
2.
this.
That's when I'll come out to California. We can tell those stories.
Those stories.
That's that's another lifetime away to me. But
Yeah, but he was methodical. He was great. But I think he should have 2 last world titles. There's one in 88 or 89 over there that crashed. And there's the Ferrari one that came out of nowhere. It was just like...
I don't want to get into it. At the race school, they used to say, you brake like Prost, you brake like Senna. And, you know, it was up to you to kind of figure out, like, which one was the better one, sort of thing.
Okay.
So you kind of determined that Senna was more of the late breaker.
Yeah.
You know,
More aggressive.
and more exactly, more sort of chaos on turn in and things like that. So Prost was methodical, where he may back things up a little bit.
Yeah.
Think
Steady
about-
and more patience and
more rolling
less passionate.
speed, which is why he was always faster. But
Not always. Not always.
You didn't know I was the pros fan, so it's okay.
Good.
It's okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
We should talk more before we schedule these interviews, right?
The pre-interview, right?
But it's up to us. Up to us to put on air. So.
Just so I know, who's your favorite? Yeah.
But the thing is, my favorite is not Senna because I think we were bombarded by media when Senna came up. There was a lot of money involving Senna.
Just PK.
PK for me is just the guy who was innovative and who was inventing things and trying.
Who's the other guy?
Changed the
Emerson before, and then we have Rubens after. Rubens for me was a great driver. He was never world champion because he was by Schumacher.
Right.
And then I have Massa after. For me, it's just like start to go down. And then I have a bunch of other guys. But the big order was Emerson, 2-time champ.
Yeah.
PK, 3-time champ.
Yeah. PK was a great driver.
Yeah. And PK on his last season, he was telling this on a podcast for the first time. He made a deal with Flavio Briatore that if he finished third, second, and first on the championship, he had this big bonus. So, and the car was not like a good car. That's why they hired PK, because it was kind of the year that the Benetton became Renault after it was kind of going down.
Yeah.
So he finished third, and he made like $50 million. So he was the biggest payday ever for that, because he did his contract. So how many points I do and where
what
it
exactly
stands.
do I need to make the money now?
Briatore, PK.
Yeah.
What do you mean? No, PK has he was a very smart businessman.
Yeah.
Because when he was here in America dealing with Indian stuff, he had meetings in between his Indy appointments. So he got one of the very first GPS track systems for trucks in Brazil.
Really?
So he has the whole South America tracked.
Oh, wow.
And it's a huge company. He made a lot of money. Plus, he had a deal with BMW. So all the dealerships for BMW in Brazil, when we went to race Le Mans and he raced the IMSA.
Yeah.
All the BMW, every single BMW that has been sold in Brazil, he has some percentage of that.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
He is a very good businessman. Yeah. And his son Nelson Jr.
Yeah.
Which got into that scandal with Alonso.
He follows orders really well.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I don't blame him, but
yeah, it's a difficult position. The guy was young. He was 18 years old.
Right.
He thought that was the game.
Right.
But yeah, it's not supposed to do that. But he races stock car in Brazil.
Oh yeah.
He does very well, and he manages other companies. They have like a armored car company.
Yep.
To armored civilian cars, which is something that you kind of need in Brazil.
Okay. Yeah.
And he has like go-karting centers.
Yeah, I think I knew about the
go-karting.
go-karting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they do work very well on the business side. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, they're rich.
Yeah.
The Senna family too. The Senna family had the same BMW deal with Audi.
Okay.
That was before Senna passed. So they control the whole Audi distribution in South America, basically.
All of South America. Wow, that's crazy.
They have a building.
Yeah, I mean, I know from experience you don't send somebody off to Europe and race for a couple of years and not have
But that's the thing.
any money.
That's my thing with Piquet. He just jumped on a plane and went there.
Yeah.
And he slept in the garage. He figured out his way out.
There's some of that.
Franco Williams picked him up at the airport, and he had some money. He bought like a F2 car or something.
Yeah.
So Piquet was more rough.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Emerson, if you grab the business side, he's the other way around. He's just trying so many ventures.
Right.
And did so many.
Right.
He's just a mess.
It's like the Gene Simmons of the auto racing world.
Probably,
yeah. Right.
And that is the orange juice story. That if you go to Indianapolis and ask about Emerson, everybody remembers the orange juice because they're proud about the milk, and the guy just picked up a orange juice on they don't like him there.
Yeah, they didn't like him after that.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was very successful in IndyCar too. He got 2 Indy 500s, 2 championships.
Right.
Very good.
Yeah, there's a certain invincibility that you come over from Formula One. It's
Mansell.
It's a different game, right?
Yeah,
right.
I
mean, Grosjean.
Villeneuve, Jacques, which is one of my favorite drivers,
I bumped into him this year in Montreal.
He's also decided.
Right. I said to my brother, "You want a selfie with Jacques Villeneuve?" He's like, "Where?" And I'm like, "He's right there." he just did something yesterday that everybody doesn't like him for. Who did he throw under the bus?
Daniel Ricciardo.
Yeah, Ricciardo.
He told him, what is he doing here?
He's 100% right.
Yeah, we can tell that.
Yeah. Hopefully, sorry, Ricciardo fans. I'm sorry.
But Jacques, his helmet design is just something incredible to me.
Yeah.
His helmet design was one of the
Yeah.
based on his mom's sweater.
Right.
That's
right.
pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
a
very
pretty
cool.
thing.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, all right, now that we've gotten there,
So now that we list all the Brazilian drivers, I need to tell you that every single one is better than Prost.
Okay.
Even the ones that didn't win the
didn't
championship. Yeah. Even the ones that didn't make it.
All right, I'll give you that since it's your interview. Yeah, that's cool.
It's your camera. Just brought the camera, so give you
Yeah,
that.
yeah. You're just gonna cut out the middle part and go right to that. And
Yeah,
I'll be like,
and then you agree.
right,
That's
it
it.
is.
I'm gonna make an editing and
Yeah,
just send you a clip.
yeah, just
so
a
do you
slight-
think? So do you think that Senna is better than Prost? And then we're gonna
Yeah.
come to some point that you're gonna say, yeah.
That's weird. People that know me, he's not. That's
Matt, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We need to talk business a little bit. I want to see a couple of new things that
Sure.
you have in store.
Yep.
And I appreciate what you're doing
Yeah,
because
definitely.
you're unique in the market, and I'm glad that Steve
Thank
is
you.
here to push you up and bring new stuff like the Truer,
Remind me of things.
minor things, and I hope I have more products. I hope we have more
we'll
stuff.
do part 2 next year or something. I'll come out to see you.
Okay, it's the 6th time that you promised me.
Yeah.
But yeah, sure.
6. I'll be there.
Thank you very much, man.
Good.
Thank you for having
Thank you
us
very
here, all right?
much. Good. Thanks.